So, was Jesus brown? That's my question to you. Was
Jesus.
he brown? Because if you think about
Hmm.
it,
Hmm.
where was he based? What, in the middle of the Middle East?
So Jerusalem,
Definitely wouldn't have
Bethlehem,
been white.
Bethlehem.
Probably would have been the same color as me and you. You know, all that stuff about when you're in the sun for a long time, you're not going to be fully white eye. You're going to be probably tanned, probably a lot of, probably a darker
Hmm.
color of brown, especially if you've been born and raised there. No
Yeah,
DNA issues,
it's the Middle
you
East,
know?
isn't it? And what's interesting, so the thing you touch upon, I remember this in the start of Ali, the film, with played by Will Smith.
Yeah.
So in the opening scene, it's you see a young Ali and his dad. This is when he's called Cassius Clay. So it's Mr. Clay is painting. He's a painter, right? And they're in their church, their Sunday church, and he's painting a picture of Jesus, this depiction of Jesus. And the young Ali, Cassius Clay, asks him, he's like, "Why is Jesus white? Why has he got blue eyes? Why has he got blonde hair?"
Yeah.
And it's a really good question because, again, if you look at the like nativity play and other depictions of Jesus, the three wise men are never depicted as white people. They're always kind of like brown people. I played the
Yeah.
wise man when I was in the nativity play in primary
Of
school.
course
So
you
it's
did.
like,
You had
well,
the beard
if
from an early age.
well, yeah, okay, I was gonna say I didn't fit that, man. That would have been freaky, Benjamin Button style. Um, but yeah, if the three wise men are Asian people, right, or
Yeah.
brown, in the Middle East, then how is it that this person, this prophet, this saint, is not like that? And so then the question becomes: is this all essentially branding, marketing, and
Or I have a
rewriting
theory
the narrative? Okay, you have a theory. Go on, theory
because
boy.
Mary was a virgin
Right.
and she was implanted by God. Maybe
Yeah.
God gave her a white child.
Yeah. That's. Oh, so you're making the case for if Jesus was
Yes. Maybe he
white.
actually was white and he just stayed white because he can perform miracles and shit. So he's superpowers. His superpower is I'm gonna stay white. That's it. Done.
Yeah.
Why not,
The thing
man?
is,
Let's make it as implausible as possible
you know
because
what's interesting is so a little side story, but my teacher who had a school, he's my biology teacher, one of my like best influential teachers at the time. He actually like left school, went to Africa, did lots of missionary work. Has now come back to the UK and now teaches theology. We connected probably last year. He's now teaching me. We're actually going through the Bible, so we're doing like kind of Bible study.
why are you going through the
Uh,
Bible?
I'm just generally interested to learn
Old
about the
Testament or
teachings
New
in a
Testament?
meaningful way. Everything we're doing from start to finish.
Interesting.
So the interesting thing he said to me when we first started, he was like, "Well, you got to remember that Jesus' whole lifespan was roughly about 33 years, but he didn't really become famous till 30. So everything we know pretty much is in those 3 years,
3 years, yeah, that's it.
right? And you got to remember that obviously we look back at people, so Jesus Christ, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and obviously we hold them in a certain light, as in that's the hindsight. But when it's happening at the time, to build influence wouldn't have been, they have no social media, and if you start spinning a new narrative like, okay, you're wrong, this is the right way, or whatever the narrative is, that's not going to be well received. And so I'm thinking about, well, if Jesus is going to build influence in the same way Guru Nanak Dev Ji built influence in his area, then you've got to kind of at least be relatable to people. And for me, that makes the case that actually probably he wasn't, the way we see it in pictures and things.
Could
But
be,
that's an interesting
because
point.
imagine if it's some white guy who just turns up in a brown area, people would be like, either they fetishize him and make him out to be like, oh my God, he's white, he must know everything.
He's a
Or
king, yeah.
they completely reject him and chastise him. And he was kind of chastised if you think about it in the Bible. I was like, well, he was because, he was crucified, etc., all that stuff. And he was massively chastised. But then I don't think it was over the color of his skin, right? It was because he was claiming to be
That's what he's
a
teaching.
part of a new faith.
Yeah.
And everybody else was he was operating in a predominantly Jewish area, is that right?
Correct. Yeah, the predominant religion before that was Judaism.
And Pontius Pilate was Jewish as well, wasn't
he? Mm-hmm.
There you go. So that was it.
And you've got to remember at that time, like when we talk about, I'm going to use these words interchangeably here, but people have different definitions. But faith, religion, spirituality. The purpose now is connect to the higher power, salvage your life, bring yourself peace, those types of things. Whereas back in the day, some people had the notion that actually, religion is power. So the Emperor Constantine was obviously very famous for this and made himself the head of the state. And even if we look at what we have in the UK, so the Queen technically is the head of the church, right? So, and there's a really nice phrase in Crown. I'm watching Crown at the moment, and the Queen Mother in there says, "You're not appointed, you're anointed. You are chosen by God." And again, this is all, you know, the divinity of that is all kind of, you know, it's marketing and man-made. But I thought that was interesting. So that was the reason back then, you know. So if you had people in power, and then Jesus Christ comes along and is basically saying, look, and starts preaching the way of love and equality and all the other good things that he preached about, that is disrupting the power, man. Like,
wasn't it like that in all faiths? If you think about it, happening in Christianity,
absolutely, absolutely.
Like you sort of just go against the system.
You go against system, man. Yeah, yeah. And it's the separation of, you know, we have government, you know, who make laws and things, and then you have obviously the church or whatever religious faith there is. But back in the day, it was just one entity. The emperor was like, you know, supreme ruler, wherever that is. And obviously, yeah, in our history, in Sikh history, there was a big struggle about trying to make, you know, the whole of India one faith. So yeah, absolutely.
So Jesus was probably brown. Yeah, he could be white. I don't know, man. It's you can go with any sort of depiction you want, because the main premise is Mary didn't have sex with Joe. So anything's possible, right?
You know, another interesting point, which I only knew because of my teaching, was again, this is mentioned in the Bible, but basically the difference in age between Joseph and Mary was quite big. So that's the first.
Was it?
Yeah. So it's not like they're the same age again. And the reason why that's interesting is because when he told me that, I was like, again, because when you see things in plays, you just
same
assume
age.
It's like, yeah, like, you know how we get married now, it's like, okay, 5 years up or down or whatever. Like, no, this is like, you know, significant. I think Mary was in her teens and Joseph was in his late 30s, early 40s, or something like that, right? And basically what he told me was, when Mary became pregnant with Jesus, right? Obviously, back in the day, you would have shock, you'd have doubt, because basically Joseph was basically saying, well, I haven't slept with her. So then how is she pregnant, right? And then an angel came down and had to tell Joseph that this is a special, you know, birth. To basically like say, no, she's not been like cheating or fooling around or anything like that. Yeah, so there's so much there. But I guess this is the value for me, you know, looking at and learning it from somebody who knows it in depth.
There's a lot of interpretation based on it, man. It's
absolutely,
it's wild. But then you've obviously got black people who think Jesus was black, and I was like, you know what? You got a point. He could have been. It could well have been.
I've not heard that.
Adds up to all the chastising. Adds up to all that stuff. But it just makes you think: where was the first depiction of him being drawn as actually white?
Yeah.
Was it the Last Supper? Was that the first time it was drawn out or something?
That's a good question. I don't know my timelines yet.
So I was thinking that's the only time that I can think furthest back. Maybe there's some like historical depictions of him where it's all just in like flipping black and white on like chalk or some shit.
Is he white doing that? I've seen the Last Supper. It's in Milan. I can't remember now, but I can't remember if they are like
isn't he?
It's, I don't know if it's more like a, you know, like a pale brown. I can't remember. That is it. Have you seen the Last Supper?
I've looked at it. You know what? I've looked at it. I've tried analyzing it, and it's like flipping. There's a lot going on in one picture, man.
Da Vinci Code.
Da Vinci Code. Yeah. There's a lot going on in one thing.
The chalice.
When I was reading the actual book, I was like, nah. And I got it up on my phone. The picture. I was looking at it. I was like, yo, shit. Everything he's saying is actually true. Like there is that thing. Look at that little bit of hand there. Look at where this is. Where's that second hand coming from? It's like, whoa, this is all very weird. It's true.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's an interesting story. It's a narrative. It's a spin. Whether it's true, we don't know. But then, you know, Da Vinci, he was a master, man. He probably did hide a lot of things in his paintings. I do believe that. Like he was just, you know, a Renaissance man. He did everything. He lived 20 lives in one life. Like it was just amazing.
He must have been on so many drugs.
Why?
So many. Because, man, in order to draw out some of that stuff, it must either be like a strong psychedelic experience for him to do that.
Yeah, or he's just a genius.
Yeah, he could be a genius, but when it comes to art and stuff, it tends to be something along those lines. If you're that extreme, it's like, oh, okay, you must be on some mad juju.
Or he's on the spectrum. That's the other thing.
Or he could be on the spectrum. That's another one.
Right. So like some sort of attention deficit disorder where you can just go like limitless mode. you know, and just
I've
super
always wanted that
concentrate.
tablet on Limitless, man. I just
Yeah,
wanted
do
it
you
for
know what I
one
mean?
day. Just one
It could
day.
then, it could, mate. You just want it before doing a bhangra set. You're like, ik set boss.
No, I don't
Limitless,
want it before that. I don't
limitless
want it before
karke.
that. I just
All
want
right,
it for
question
one
then.
day.
Question. Yeah, what would you do in that day? Here's the question.
What, in that day?
Yeah, yeah.
I'd
So you got the
dominate
pill
the
now.
world, man. Honestly, I'd dominate the world.
What does that mean?
Mate, give me £1,000.
Buy
I'm jumping on
all
the
the
stock
t-shirts I
exchange.
could buy,
I'm jumping on the stock exchange. Let's go. Let's go. Right.
and then retire with all your
And
money.
then that's it. Spend it
Leave
all.
the
Put it at
leave
the
the
end of the day.
podcast.
Done.
Leave the podcast. That's what you're doing. I know
Would
you.
leave the
I know.
podcast
I know
and
what your
reinvest all the
intentions
money
are.
into this. Look, Goran, if I put in £500 and you put in £500, would you trust
Right.
me? That's all you gotta. That's all you gotta ask yourself.
Yeah. In
Have
the
I let you
podcast.
down to this date? No, I haven't.
No,
Stock exchange.
you're-
Let's go. We'll go batshit crazy, man. That little bip. Do you know what a bip is in trading? Yeah.
yeah.
One
Yeah.
basis point. Let's go. I'm looking for that one basis point. That's it.
Okay.
I'll turn it from £1,000 to 1,001 pence. Let's go.
No. If you got that pill, man, you need to be making $1 million.
I got that pill. I
man.
need to be doing
$1
thousands of
million.
those every second.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And
Now, I
then
don't actually know, man. What the fuck would I do with that day with that pill? On that pill, it would be
NBA.
I'd
NBA.
have to need it to be
Slam
like
dunk.
super analytical.
Slam dunk. Garde.
Slam dunk.
Mate, you got drafted that day.
Mate,
You're
if
getting
I
picked.
slam dunk
You're
that,
getting picked.
I'd slam dunk my back as well at the same time.
No. You
Everything
got the
gets
pill,
swung out
man.
of action.
You got the pill. Nothing happens that day.
The pill.
Hmm.
The contraceptive pill. Oh,
Oh,
wait.
okay. You can
We're
take that if you
talking about
want.
that pill. Okay.
I'm not sure what's gonna happen.
What would happen if I took the contraceptive pill?
I actually don't know. I think you get gynecomastia.
What does that mean?
Breasts.
Huh?
You get breasts,
Oh, yeah.
right? So you get gynecomastia. That's a medical word for that. Your testes would probably shrink. Your
Straight
voice would
up.
drop. Yeah. Your
Nice.
voice would go like a bit.
My voice would
Do you
drop or go
remember?
higher.
Do you remember Grown Ups? Have you seen the film Grown Ups?
Yeah.
There's a scene when they go to the water park.
Yes.
And then there's that guy checking him out. He's got loads of muscles, and he comes in and he goes, "Hey, ladies!" And he's like, his voice is like really, really high pitched.
Oh, yeah.
So many. It's just think about it, if you're on gear, like the people that take gear. It's quite
Yeah, but
similar
gear
to
is
the
just testosterone and a lot of other things. It's not just testosterone.
estrogen.
It's other stuff.
Estrogen. Yeah. So you're getting some of those side effects. If you took the contraceptive pill, maybe you should do it for the podcast. Maybe you should document.
Maybe I
your
should do
journey.
it as an experiment. You reckon?
I think listeners, guys, if you're listening to this, and obviously you are, because it's the best podcast in the world after Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Do you want to see Indy do this? I can facilitate. Okay, as a doctor, I'll be
You can
supervising.
facilitate. You can monitor me. for
I
24
will
hours.
measure the gynecomastia growth. We'll get a tape measure and we'll just.
Sorted. I'll make sure I don't eat on that day, so my chest isn't expanded.
That's it. You see what you see on your t-shirt, the person with the two eyes. Yeah.
Pharrell. Yeah.
I'll be doing that. I'll be like, yeah. Let me see.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
Why what?
Why would you be doing this to me?
I don't know. It just seems funny to me. Do you remember that thing that went around the England football was doing? What was it? What was that thing that everyone was doing? I can't remember it now. There was like a thing you could do.
This.
That was it. Yeah. How do you
Fucking
forgot to do
idiot,
that.
that.
give me a thing? Oh, I can't remember what to do it now.
Weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
For those of you that are listening, it's that thing that Deli Ali was doing with his
Deli
hands.
Ali, that was it.
That's
Oh,
it.
bloody, that's quite hard. Oh,
No.
Oh, God.
It wasn't that. It was this. Your hand goes like that. You drop it over like that. If you can see through it, I can't do
I
it.
can't remember now. Yeah.
Anyway,
I had nailed
then
it
he
for
had
a
this
while.
thing with like two fingers going around like that. I was like,
Yeah. Then that was too complicated. I was like,
it's
nah,
taking
I
the
can't do
mix.
this.
I'm
man.
like, this is too much now. You killed the vibe. Okay,
Mm.
you made your point. You're clearly ambidextrous.
You're a cool
I
guy.
understand. Okay,
You're a cool guy.
very ambidextrous.
Mm.
Cool. So Jesus was brown. Right. That concludes that topic. Next
Okay.
topic.